Oh, hey guys. Alright. So I've been studying the Masters. And so I just had this revelation. This video is for my entertainment and educational purposes only. Any and everything I say could be wrong. Do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Whatever. Okay. So, this is an experimental video because I've been studying the Masters. Oh shit, my battery is dead again? This happened to me yesterday too. What the Alright, whatever. Okay, so let's go over some comments. I don't even know what's gonna happen. Some of these comments I've already gone over, but then there's comments that I haven't really gone over. And so, to be fair to as possible as I can, let's go over some comments. Let's try to get through some of these comments as best as we can. Okay, so let's go. Let's check it out. Let's see. Okay, here we are. Okay, I want to start. Like, the comments started coming in more. I don't know. Whatever. Let's see. There's 14 comments. That's probably where I failed to catch up. All right. Let's see if there's any. Well, I guess we could start with, okay, so 14 comments, that was part 2 of the world part 2. Okay, so, how the world really works 101, that's part 1. Okay, I didn't get any views, I didn't get any comments on that one. And then the Fox Tarot, that was kind of like, okay, so this Once More Around the Sun, the world part 2 is kind of more the Angry Hobo philosophical discussion, which is probably why there's 14 comments. So let's go into this. Let's see what, okay, wait, we're going to have to pause. All right, let's see. We're going into the comments here. Okay. Oh, yeah, see this one. See, Autonomous Publishing Corp 1778. Okay, wow, and then up here, not showing at all. This is really frustrating me. I don't even know what to do. There's a channel whose comments are not showing up, and so they have to use another, they have to use a different YouTube account to post comments to tell me that their comments are not showing up, and this is really frustrating. And so I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. Comments weren't working, and then unavailable name 9124 was the one that initially gave me the heads up, and I don't know what the fuck to do. Anyways, okay. See, it says there's 14 comments, and I can only see right here there's only these 2, and then replies. So now look at how complex this is. You have the top comments, you have haven't responded comments, you have public subscriber comments, you have question comments, and then newest comments. So this is really not very user friendly. But okay, first this is a comment. This is an example of a comment that's like deep, and I might end up just being stuck on this one comment for the entire video because it's deep. So I'm going to read this comment. Okay, and anyways, let's go on. Okay, stupidity is part of the human experience. Wow, a person can do a fucking whole deep dive, even an hour-long video just discussing this. Stupidity is part of the human experience. This is true. Everybody's stupid. Everybody's stupid in some regard or other. I don't know what to say. Except for that, yeah, I could discuss this. Dude, that is so fucking true. Stupidity is part of the human experience. Every one of us does stupid shit, right? The brilliant and the clueless alike. It's universal, which means it's not a flaw, but a feature being used as an exploit. I want to pause there and go back to the top of that sentence. Every one of us does stupid things, the brilliant and the clueless alike. I want to go into, see, this is what I'm saying, like this comment is already kind of like is like, bro, holy shit. I think my response to his comment was, bro, I could do a whole fucking video on this. If you think about that statement, which is true, everybody does stupid shit, the brilliant and the clueless alike. And one thing that I wanted to point out about this, which is something that I've talked about a lot over the years, is that you can't ever tell with people. Just because I encounter someone who appears to be stupid and clueless, that doesn't mean that they are, because everybody does stupid shit. And so this is why, like, you just can't ever tell with people. I mean, generally speaking. And you know, online, all these online discussions, everything is all or nothing, black or white. It's the Jews, like, and that's the same. So the whole using it's the Jews as kind of a case study, you know, that would be the same as me saying that every single person I've ever seen that appears to be stupid is fucking stupid. And that's not true. That's like total, and only a fucking retard would believe that shit, right? And so we, all people have to be careful. Like we have to constantly be, you know, trying to maintain a sense of humility and even like compassion and somewhat a forgiveness of others, because we don't fucking know. Just because I see somebody who's doing stupid shit, that doesn't mean that's a stupid fucking person. And so you see how I mean, in this, I could fucking go off on this, you know? But like I said, because then that opens this Pandora's box where you see all of this discussion online where everything is all or nothing. Everything is black or white. Everything is Jews versus everyone else. Everything is like this, and it's like it's completely removed of all nuance. And that's what that is. And that's what that statement is saying, is like, dude, everybody does stupid shit. Just because I see somebody doing stupid shit doesn't mean they're a fucking stupid person, bro. And so many people, in myself included, and make this mistake. And what's crazy is the internet encourages this, because the internet is a tool to control people. That's all it is. And so the internet is this complex. It's a very like highly complex propaganda tool to brainwash the masses into believing everything is all or nothing. Everything is black or white. Everything is Jew. It's the Jews. It's the Jews, stupid. Like, and like, it doesn't get any more stupid than that. Megadeth was right in the song Hangar 18. Computer banks to rule the world. All this stuff about computers and computer banks and internets and all this stuff, all this is about controlling the world. And then it pisses me off because you have it's a dime a dozen on the internet. All these people claiming that they've broken into the satellite mainframe, and they're one of these unique people that's broadcasting the truth. Even though the internet and computers is all about just controlling people, there's this special person who has figured out how to break into the satellite mainframe and is distributing or is broadcasting the truth. Like, these people are just such snake oil salesman fucking liars. And that's what all they're doing is promoting themselves. Like, I am the awesome one. I'm the god of the internet. And it's so fucking disgusting, dude. It's so fucking retarded. But anyways, like, that's a crazy, let's go back to it. Okay, we're going into comments. We're doing comments. So, going back to this comment, I mean, just the very first sentence is like deep shit, you know? It's like, stupidity is part of the human experience. Yeah. Every one of us does stupid things, the brilliant and the clueless alike. It's universal, which means it's not a flaw, but a feature being used as an exploit. But yeah, like I was just giving some of my thoughts on that, you know, and one thing is like, you can never tell with people. everybody has to be careful with people, because if you fuck with the wrong person, dude, you could end up a very, very sorry person, you know. Anyways, Mad Magazine had it right. You are dumb. Yes, this is, but only sometimes. See, this is good. Okay, but here's the twist. Being on the bottom 10, which he's referring to the lowest 10%, can be a superpower, just as stupid humans possess apex intelligence. Yes. See how deep this shit goes? See how deep this shit goes? Like, stupid people can have like you know, high levels of intelligence if you regard intelligence as like you know, as defined by the code of man. But the problem with the code of man is it's a complete and utter fucking failure, dude. Look around. Everything is falling apart. And this is the code of man, right? And intelligence is based off of the code of man. But man is just a simple ape. Like chimpanzees. Did you, like, you know, chimpanzees are over 96% biologically identical to humans. The brain of a chimpanzee is at least 96% biologically identical to a human's brain. And so that's what you're dealing with, you know. Like, humans at best have a 4% more biologically advanced level of intelligence than a chimpanzee. Whenever I think of that, one of the first images that flashes in my mind is chimpanzees working at McDonald's. You know, remember when Bush said he was going to create the army of monkeys or chimpanzees, and everybody was laughing at George Bush because he's such a fucking idiot, dude. But anyways, I mean, yeah, when you think of it in terms of that, like, maybe it makes sense. Like, why not? Why not have chimpanzees working at McDonald's, you know? Why? Well, I mean, so, you know, and the apex of intelligence, this is the apex of intelligence. When you contrast that and juxtapose it with the fact that the biological, like, chimpanzees' brains are at least 96% identical to a human brain. I mean, we're just dealing with a bunch of fucking apes around here. That's all. That is the code of man. The apex of man is like they're 4% more intelligent than a chimpanzee. Oh, great, right? Yay! Isn't that? Oh, wow. You know, fuck man, you know, whatever, who cares, right? But anyways, let's go back to this comment. See, I'm probably just going to be stuck on this one comment. Okay, being on the bottom 10% can be a superpower, just as stupid humans possess apex intelligence. You can say the quiet part out loud. I wanted to see, this is what I'm saying, like a comment like this is, I could just go off on this. See, yeah, like the lowest 10% have superpowers. One of them being, the most obvious one being, the superpower of invisibility. They're totally invisible. That's an advantage that's like a, you know, like people in the lowest 10% could master the art of invisibility because they have it. But if they don't know they have it, you know, it takes time. Like if you have a superpower, you still have to figure out how to use it, you know. But like, dude, if a person, dude, the lowest 10% are fucking, they're totally invisible. They have they can easily cast a spell of invisibility to where they are just not even there. Totally. That's just one example of the superpower of the lowest 10%. That's just one of many, many. Like, what's that line in that movie? Oh fuck, what is it? Anyways, whatever is like a, you know, where there's this kind of what am I trying to say? You know, the deprivation of the lowest 10% is like, the deprivation that the lowest 10% is like having constant military training, where if you have to survive in deprivation, where you are just constantly in survival mode, and you're deprived of even just basic human needs like access to clean running water, shelter, food, and that's your life. That's basically the equivalent of just being in military high intensity military training. And as a result, what happens is people in those situations, they just learn to adapt and respond accordingly to the deprivation, which only makes them stronger. This is why society in general fears the lowest 10%. Rightfully so, because the lowest 10% is constantly in a state of deprivation, and all it does is make them stronger. Whereas your average person in society just lives in convenience, doesn't really ever have to go without, and so all this does is create like more superpower, and like, it's like being in military nonstop, constant, forced military training, the lowest 10%. And society doesn't want to admit that, because the storyline or narrative with society is that, oh, the lowest 10%, those are the poopy poops, those are the inferior people. And it's all just a big joke. Like, it's so retarded, dude. Anyways, let's go on. See how I can get stuck just on this comment? You can say the quiet parts out loud. That's not shameful. That's a kind of freedom. Yes, that's why I do this. That's part of doing this channel is exactly the freedom to say the quiet parts out loud, because I'm invisible. Nobody's going to be paying attention to me, and any of the people that actually truly do pay attention to me are the people that matter, right? So I say the quiet parts out loud, and it's not shameful at all. It's a kind of freedom, and sometimes even it is, in a sense, it is. Yeah, when it says it's even kind of a genius itself, that kind of goes back to the idea of idiocracy. When you look at Idiocracy, the story of Idiocracy, the guy was just of average intelligence. That was what the whole joke is and then he ends up getting frozen in a cryogenic pod, and then the pod breaks open, 1,000 years later or whatever, and everybody's fucking stupid. And so this guy of average intelligence ends up being like the smartest man in the world, because everybody's fucking stupid, That's what kind of, when it talks about it, that's not shameful. That's kind of a freedom, and sometimes even a kind of genius itself. Yeah, that's what's hilarious about it. So anyway, societies have always tried to smother the people who see this is the other thing, dude. This is so true. Societies have always tried to smother the people who see too clearly. Dude, look, this is exactly my point. Societies throughout time immemorial have always been more focused on erasing those who see things clearly. Always. That's always been the case. And that's what is going on with the lowest 10%. Dude, you know how like when these conspiracy theories where they say the education system, all it is like a way to like basically like to figure out who are the people that are going to cause society problems. Like all the education system is it's to serve the top 10%. And what the top 10% use the education system for is to find out which of these children that are growing up in the education system are going to be the biggest threat to the top 10%. And then they fucking label them and mark them and tag them and track them. And dude, I'm telling you. And that's how you get these lowest 10%. The lowest 10%. And I believe, this is my conspiracy theory, that so the whole education system, all it is a program that serves the top 10%. And a big part of the education system program is the education system program is a program designed so that the top 10% can track every fucking person in the education system from the time of kindergarten and track their behavior and everything to find out who of these youth in the education system are most likely to grow up becoming a threat to the top 10%. That's all the education system is. And then they track them every day, every year, constantly tracking all of them and categorizing them into thirds. And the people that are the big that are perceived as the biggest threat to the top 10% are the ones that are driven to the lowest 10%. That's why everything is stupid. You see people complaining about there's all this stupid shit going on all the time. That's why. And it's funny to me how I'm the only one talking about the lowest 10% thing. Nobody else is doing it. So I don't know. Like, anyways, whatever, going on. Let's see. Okay. Not because they're wrong, but because they're inconvenient. Yeah, going back to what I was saying about, it's all to serve the top 10%. That's what it's all about. So when everything at the top 2 of the top 10 say or do is nonsensical, are they being humanly stupid, or do they think you aren't smart enough to see it? Well, that's a combination, I would say. Or do they just not care, including that, how unbelievable the lies are, because they know you can't, all of that. And if that were the case, what do you intend to do about it? Right. Yeah, and that question is basically, can be posed to everybody, especially like everybody in the truth community, everybody in the so-called truther community. What are you going to do about it? What? Are you just going to arm up and go around shooting everybody, whether they're innocent or not, because fuck them, boom, boom, no. I mean, only a fucking retard would do that, What am I going to do about it? And then I have to acknowledge, like, reality for what it is. I'm powerless over so many things. That's just the way it is, People are so fucking butthurt about the idea of being powerless that they cope. They fucking cope. And then they deny their power. No, I'm not powerless. I could fly like Superman. I just don't want to. No, you can't. You're powerless. You can't. You're powerless over the fact that you can't just fly like Superman. You can't just put on a cape and go flying into the sky. You're powerless to not being able to fly like Superman. Like, people get so fucking stupid because they're so butthurt about their powerlessness, and then that dominates their whole life. Like, they get so butthurt by their powerlessness that they go into an extreme state of denial, to the point where they think that they're not powerlessness. They're not powerless. They have power over everything. And as a result, they never get anything done. They don't do anything. Like, going back to the question, what are you going to do about it? The first thing a person needs to do, like, if a person wants to do something about this, the first thing that they need to do is be honest with themselves and do a self-analysis and honestly admit their weaknesses and powerlessness and all the powerlessness they have over this situation. Because by doing so, then they can see where they do have power to do things. And in reality, the power that a person has to do about these things is very minimal. But, like, why not do them? Is it really that big of an inconvenience to chip away, even though the things that you do may be very small, just a drop in a bucket? How do you think ancient Chinese water torture works, motherfucker? Every fucking drop, every single drop in the ancient Chinese water torture is one more chink in the armor, bro. Like, but see, the person that can't even admit that they're powerless over so much of this, they're the ones that never do anything about any of it, because they cope so fucking hard that they brainwash themselves into believing that they're not powerless at all. They have all this power. The people that believe that they're not powerless are the ones that never do anything about any of it. Anyways, it's fucking crazy. This comment is fucking crazy as fuck, dude. Okay. Yeah, that's the question. What do you intend to do about it, you know? Don't feel isolated. You're not alone in seeing it. Yeah. True. Yeah, you're not alone, you know, and I've always tried to say that, you know, I mean, there aren't many of us. It appears there aren't many of us, but we are out here, dude. Like, you know, and things can be done. But arming up and just going out and just fucking blindly causing violence to people, like, is the stupidest thing. It goes back to the thing up here. Stupidity. Every one of us does stupid things. You can never tell with people. You can't just, oh, I see that person's doing stupid shit, therefore a stupid person, and stupid people are the problem. Bam, 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 fucking blow their fucking head off. Like, that's not the way to do it, dude. You know, it's totally stupid, right? Anyways, that's why Asmongold gets the accolades for naming, and you're right, that's not a solution. Well, and yes, you know, at least Asmongold is one of the few people who will actually say it. Going back to like when I'm saying this, I'm like, who is doing what I'm doing? Like, nobody is. And what I mean by that is my whole channel for fucking 8 years has been about this one thing over and over every day. And the reason is because nobody ever looks at it. Nobody else is doing it. And so if I'm right, somebody needs to do it. And if you think you could do better, you know, to the armchair critic, have at it. You know, like, my channel has always just been about throwing this shit out there in the hopes that somebody that has the resources, time, money, and talent, you know, will just pick it up and do it. And I could give a flying fuck if I got any. I don't want any credit. Like, I'll just go ghost. I'm a fucking hobo, dude. Once a hobo, always a hobo. I am invisible. I'm not ashamed of my invisibility. Don't even look at me. But like, somebody who has the intelligence, resources, talent, you know, platform, all this. Dude, there is such a massive wealth of content, important, relevant content in what I have been trying to do for the last 8 years, and nobody's doing it. That's what I mean when I'm saying nobody's doing it. Is they're not like, just like, you know, focusing on this like a dendrologist studies trees. You know what I mean? Like a political commentator focuses solely on political commentary. That's very common. That's a dime a dozen political commentators that all they do is just go on and on about politics. Well, isn't what I'm talking about just as important as arguably more important? Look at all these people that are saying politics are fake and gay. Well, then, by their logic, what I'm talking about is more important than all these political commentators. But yet, not one single motherfucker on the internet is doing it. So there's these rare occasions where someone like Asmongold will mention it, and he'll hit the head on the nail. And like, what he's doing is like somebody could do a channel on just what fucking Asmongold said when he was breaking down the top 10%, the middle 80%, and the lowest 10%. But nobody's doing it. And the whole flaw is ignoring the lowest 10%. Yeah, you've got people that are focusing on the top 10% and the middle 80%, and that's it. And then every once in a while, there's an EBT story about EBT recipients with fucking cookie crumbs all over their face, riding off with a stolen bicycle. And that's how, like, it's so fucking gay, dude. Like, what I'm doing the last 8 years, dude, is such a massive wealth of untapped content, like relevant, real, and to everything going on that everybody ignores. And it is so completely retarded that everybody ignores it. It's so retarded that it's it's beyond fucking mind-blowing. Like, that's why I love Baffled by Bullshit. Like, the title of his channel is Baffled by Bullshit. Exactly. It is so completely baffling that people are this fucking retarded. But whatever, who cares, right? Moving on. Anyways, let's finish up this comment. Oh shit, let me go back. What am I doing? Okay, and anyways, so enough about the Asmongold take, but anyways, it's a quiet growl in the dark by one in the masses. Yeah. But a growl that resonates with all who've heard that growl in their own guts, yes, when the orcs got into the Shires. It's a spark, and it's vital. That's what I mean. It's vital. It's totally vital. Like, going back to the Lord of the Rings analogy, where you have the Oathbreakers and and Fangorn. Who are these? What do these fucking groups represent? Like, if you were to just take even just a layman's fucking view, is like, okay, you've got the Sauron and Saruman, you've got the elves and the humans and the dwarves and the hobbits, and then you've got the Oathbreakers and Fangorn. It's obvious what these different groups of people represent. And it's obvious if you fucking just stopped and thought about it, it's obvious that the Oathbreakers and the Fangorn represent the lowest 10%. And then it's so gay when you see these people, and these are not isolated incidents. Like, if I were to bring up, what's his name for an example, Nerderotic, who he does these videos on Lord of the Rings. This is not an isolated incident, which this is, people will accuse me of that I'm just bringing up. This is totally not an isolated incident. You have all these stupid people claiming to be smart about Lord of the Rings, and they've never even come to this basic conclusion, that that's exactly who the Oathbreakers and the fucking Fangorn represent, is the lowest 10%. And when you look at the role that Fangorn and the fucking Oathbreakers played in the war against Sauron and Saruman, the war would not even have been won without the fucking Fangorn and the fucking Oathbreakers. And all these stupid nerderotic type people, what they're doing is they're pretending that they do not understand this. And then they go on and on pontificating with their long forehead fucking garbage about how much they know about Lord of the Rings. I mean, that is what Lord of the Rings is about. They don't know anything, or if they do, they're pretending they don't. And this is not an isolated incident. Like, these people are repeat offenders, dude. They're repeat offenders who constantly ignore the role that the Oathbreakers and the Fangorn played, and that who the Oathbreakers and Fangorn actually represent, what their archetypes actually represent. They ignore them as much as they ignore the lowest 10% themselves in the real world. And then they call themselves patriots, and and their whole claim to fame is crushing the libtards. Like, they're so dumb, dude. It's so fucking dumb, bro. You just get sick of it, and it's just walls and walls and walls of this propaganda. And all these stupid people dominating all the fucking public discourse. They're fucking retards. In that sense, or they appear to be. I don't know. I'm sick of the fucking retardation. Anyways, let's see. Let's see. It's a spark, and it's vital, and it lives in your target audience if you can find them. Welcome to the modern crusades. Like, anyways, see what I'm saying? Like, this comment. Okay. I don't even know. how far I am in this video. Oh, 34 minutes and 40, and that's just one comment. Comments I haven't responded to. I guess I responded to all of them. No. Questions? No. Newest. Okay. Okay, here we go. Whoa. The big beautiful bill goes a long way in knocking down that 80%. And that's what's so fucked up. Okay, like, this is baffled by bullshit pointing this out. The big beautiful bill goes a long way in knocking down that 80%. So let me explain this. So when we're thinking of it in terms of the top 10%, middle 80%, and lowest 10% as far as people, the elite are the top 10%, the middle 80% are all the Middle Earth, the hobbits and the dwarves and the humans. And then the lowest 10% of people, the bums that are stealing all the EBT cookies and bicycles or whatever, fucking faggot bullshit, right? But anyways, when you look at it this way, right, what Baffled by Bullshit is saying is that Trump's bill, the big beautiful bill, is forcing the Middle Earth, the inhabitants of Middle Earth, to live in squalor, just like the lowest 10% does. Like, live, eating fucking, out on the fucking, whatever. They're eating out of dumpsters and shit and being rejected and ignored by the rest of society. The big beautiful bill is pushing more and more people into the lowest 10%. And the thing is about that is, like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Think about that phrase. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. If the middle 80% hates and ignores me because I'm the lowest 10%, and then Trump, who's in the top 10%, passes the big beautiful bill, and it starts forcing all these people that ignore and hate me to have to walk a mile in my shoes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Don't you get it? And I'm not saying Baffled by Bullshit doesn't. But I mean, that's a loaded comment just in and of itself right there. It's like, yeah, and it's hard not to laugh. It's like laughing at the demise of people who deserve what they fucking get. It's like, it's hard not to laugh. But anyways, whatever. So, and then let's see. So those are comments. I mean, I don't know. Like, let's see. Anyways, this is a long video, so I'm just kind of, well, I'll end it here. So going over comments, I'm going to start doing this because I learned from the masters. I've been watching the master podcasters, and they do this shit. And so it's like, well, it's cool. I mean, I guess, whatever. I don't know. I think, yeah, it's worth it. So, like, but what I'm saying is that, yeah, I'm going to do this from time to time, and because really, out of fairness, to people, and so, and like, if people criticize my content, I will go over that too. Unless they're just being an asshole. If their critique is that I'm stupid, then fuck them, I already know how to deal with those people. Like, ad hominem is not an argument. And so anybody who's, I mean, I understand if there's a little bit of ad hominem to make a point, to illustrate, but it's mostly unnecessary. So if somebody's just targeting me with ad hominem and that's their argument, that's not an argument. And like, I feel this is the problem, is I feel like I'm right. This is why I've been doing this channel, is because I feel like I'm right. And I'm trying to push myself to understand the other side of the story. Is like, can somebody please explain to me where I'm wrong? Because this is what I'm lowest 10%. So this is my lens. This is what I see. So somebody that's in the middle 80%, can you please explain to me how I'm wrong? And when all they do is say, well, the homeless are all just lazy, mentally ill, drug addicted, criminal, vagrant, that's all ad hominem. Don't you see? That's all that this whole argument against the lowest 10% is all ad hominem. Lazy, mentally ill, drug addicted, criminal, vagrant, degenerate. This is all ad hominem. But see, the people pushing this ad hominem argument against the lowest 10%, they always win. And the lowest 10% always lose. But when you look at the rules of argument in debate, so they're winning by cheating at the rules, and like blatantly cheating. They're not even trying to hide their cheating. They're just saying, "Oh, those are all shitty people. That's why they're homeless. They're all shitty people." Now let's get back to the top 10% and the middle 80%, because there is no point in even acknowledging the lowest 10% because they're all shitty people. That's ad hominem. And these people that dominate the public square, of so-called exchange of free ideas or whatever, a free market of ideas, it's all fucking rigged. They're winning an argument with nothing but ad hominem. So who's the judge that's awarding them the winner when all they have is ad hominem? Homeless people are just lazy, mentally ill, drug addicted, criminal, vagrant, degenerates. Oh, you won the debate. How? How did you win? That's nothing but ad hominem. But the mob always wins. The mob always wins. If Jesus Christ were real and he actually did everything about the story of God and Jesus was real and Jesus walked the earth, that's exactly what would happen to Jesus, is the mob would totally just freak the fuck out and demand the torture and crucifixion of him. So that's what I mean when I say it doesn't matter if the fucking story in the Bible is literal or allegory. And what I mean by that is the truth is there, whether it's allegory or literal. The truth is there, and that is the truth. That even if it isn't true, even if the story of Jesus isn't true, the problem is that if it was true, that's exactly what would happen. The retarded mob would demand the torture and crucifixion of him. And back the 10% into a corner where the 10% would just give in and be like, well, the people have spoken. If I don't do this, they're going to fucking come after me. So, all right, get all the fucking people, get all the torture devices together and get all the fucking, all the fucking jackboots, and we got to do this, make it public. That's exactly what would happen. So what do you mean the Bible isn't real? What do you mean the story of Jesus isn't real? Yeah, it is. The truth is there, whether it's allegory or literal. This truth remains the same. So it might as well be a literal story, because that's exactly what would happen, dude. Anyways, whatever, bro. It's so obvious. Like, these things are so obvious, And that's the thing. You know what it is? Is the people that defend the middle 80%, they know that this is obvious. And they're always trying to get validation from the middle 80%, because that's where they get the biggest army. They want to build a cult. If you want to start a cult and build a cult in large numbers, it's the middle 80%. Like, if you go to the lowest 10% and try to start a cult, they're just like, whatever, dude. Like, fuck off. Do you have some pot or what? Like, fuck off. I don't even care. Dude, you don't understand the lowest 10%. Like, they are just not operating on the level of the middle 80%. Like, it's completely different realities. Just like the top 10% is a completely different reality from the middle 8%. The lowest 10% is a completely different reality. It's a completely different reality. And so if you want to, and then plus with all the propaganda and lies and smear campaigns against the lowest 10%, nobody's ever going to try to, petition the lowest 10% to join their cult. So if you want to start a cult like a Owen Benjamin cult with the Bears, Of course, you're gonna have to, you know, the people you want to fool into drinking your Jim Jones Kool-Aid are the middle 80%. You could try to get cult members from the lowest 10%, but that goes back to trying to domesticate a feral cat. This is why the majority of the lowest 10% are probably not ever really going to join any real cult, is because cults are based in domestication. All the domesticated people are the ones that are participating in cults, you know, driving their nice cars, having, you know, their job is that they're a fucking Gap model that advertises shampoo products. Those are the cult members. All of those people. You try to go, you know, those are the domesticated people that will drink the Jim Jones Kool-Aid. You know? It's a lot less likely that the lowest 10% will join the cult. It goes back to when you look at the archetype of Treebeard in Lord of the Rings. All the fucking Fangorn, they've abandoned society. The reason that Fangorn abandoned the society of Middle Earth is because, in a general way, the inhabitants of Middle Earth treated the fucking Fangorn like shit. That's why Fangorn says, nobody cares for the woods anymore. You know, we should just kill all the woods, you know. You know, like, we should just, you know, with lethal injection, just kill all the trees with lethal injection. You know, fuck them. Yeah. And you know, Treebeard touches on it where he's like, you know, all these fuckers just gnawing and biting and sawing and burning, and then as Treebeard is like, he's like, you know, drawing from memory of all of this gnawing and biting and sawing and burning, and he's fucking, and then he's about ready to kill, just thinking about all this sawing and biting and gnawing and burning of the Fangorn. And that's all the Middle Earth were the ones doing that. You know? Just like the humans of Middle Earth were the ones that were, you know, that got all corrupted by the ring. You know, all these inhabitants of Middle Earth, they just rejected Fangorn. And it's a similar story with the Oathbreakers. The Oathbreakers were all condemned. But what is it exactly that they did? Nobody really knows for sure if that was just what they did. And even if the Oathbreakers did something wrong, did the punishment fit the crime? You know? Do you cut off a child's hand because they stole a piece of candy from the store? Well, of course you don't. Like, see, these are all questions. And this is part of the mystique of, like, the Oathbreakers. Why were they such assholes? Why when the Oathbreakers were approached and asked to help in the war, all the Oathbreakers laughed at him and said, "You guys are a bunch of fucking, go fuck yourselves, right? Go fuck off." You know? They hadn't, same with the Oathbreakers. I'm not on anyone's side because nobody's on my side, you know. But anyways, I forgot why I was going off on this tangent. But anyways, so that's a long enough video. See you, boys.